The Pelicans end their back-to-back weekend with a win over the Memphis Grizzlies, followed by a tough loss at the hands of the Philadelphia 76ers. Plenty to unpack from both games. Zion's performance, Trey Murphy, Sadiq Bey. Let's talk about them all today on Flock.
Ready?
So g'day everyone and welcome to Flock. I am your host Lyle Swithenbank at Lyle Swithenbank on Twitter and on TikTok at Lyle Pels on Instagram. Thanks for everyone that has jumped on the little subscribe in the recent days. We've been enjoying this. Look, we've had a little bit of success, a little bit of disappointment, shall we say, as we continue to march through quite a difficult season, to say the least. Improvement on last year saw that the Pelicans, through 50 games, had won 13 games. However, last year they'd only won 12. So, I don't know what more you want to take from that, but look, we're ahead of the curve. Improvements. The Pelicans also are no longer on the bottom of the West. They have passed the Sacramento Kings, and with their 13th win against Grizzlies, taking us to 13-38 after 51 games, and only -6.5 differential. So, plenty to unpack out of the game. So, we'd had a difficult loss against the Oklahoma City Thunder, and we won't talk about that game because they basically storm your Twitter page if you mention them, the fans of the Thunder. So that was a little bit confronting. The Memphis Grizzlies game. So the Pelicans are about to go on a road trip through the sort of Mardi Gras season as they do each year, but this was a quick pit stop at home. City edition jerseys. Jose Alvarado started to find his straps. Herb Jones was playing again in this one, as he had been since his return, and we started to feel pretty whole. We'd beaten Memphis this season previously. They were without, again, we'd only beaten them a week ago, and then to play them again, they still had no Ja Morant. There was still no Scottie Pippen Jr. They're pretty thin, right? They've lost a lot of players. And you feel for them because we've been in that situation with the injuries. But what we saw in this is that basically you have to win. If your team's healthy and Memphis is not, well, then you have to win. So that's what we decided to do, which was nice. 114-106. And we're going to talk about that game to start off. We'll get to the Sixers game coming up. But what I really liked is that we moved the ball quite well. We played with intention, and you know this has been the theme of the season is being intentional, and really put them to the sword in the second half. First quarter, 32-28 in favour of Memphis, and that game it started out that they were back and forth, and missing a couple of shots, and then all of a sudden we started to put the foot down. Second quarter, 30-29, and then the third quarter, which has been our sort of saving grace in most games so far, was that we had 35-15 in that third quarter, and thankfully gave us a big enough run to build a huge lead. I think we're up by about 17 or 20 at one point. That evaporated to start the fourth, 30-21 in favour of Memphis in that last quarter. We actually went through about a 3 or 4 minute spurt where we just did not score, and that's been a theme of this Pelicans for many years, not just this season. But what we saw is that we were able to maintain that lead, build back on it, and then hold off with that 8-point lead to close the game. And when you have that ability to now close games, well, when you're in situations to win, for the most part, depending who you're playing, you're going to have a chance at winning the game. We can think back to seasons gone where we had Willie Green and we weren't winning any game that we didn't lead in the last quarter, or any game that we were down by 6 points to end the game. You just knew it was over, and even if you were up by 6, you were still thinking you were going to lose it. But time and time again, we saw that. And it takes time for guys to learn to win. And what we're seeing now is that as these guys play together more, get a bit of routine, bit of rhythm and consistency, we're starting to close games a whole heap better. In this game, we'll go to the stats and talk about that. So free throws, 15 to 26. We smashed them in the paint. We went in there every single time, 20 or 26 from the free throw line. And when you get into the paint, you're drawing those fouls. Jaren Jackson is the second most fouled player in the, or gives up the most fouls in the league. And it showed. He was getting hammered. And again, we got him in foul trouble by attacking him, by attacking the paint and making sure that they were thin in that front court. Neither of us shot very well. We were 48%. They shot 43. 3-pointers, 12 of 41 to 8 of 33. And the difficulty when you play good sides, and you know, not to discount Memphis, but they're heavily injured, is that if you only hit 8 threes, there's not very many situations you're going to win. Thankfully, Memphis sort of lived and died by the three with their 41 attempts, and that gave us an opportunity to get out and transition off long rebounds and advancing the ball. I thought we were very good at it tonight, in that game. Assists 24 to 26. Rebounds, they actually beat us in this one, 46 to 42, which had been a bit of an upswing or an improvement that the Pelicans had been doing in recent games. But again, they had some big players. Jock Landale and Jaren Jackson Jr. were getting rebounds, and that was quite interesting that they beat us in that. But again, I digress. Both teams' offensive rebounding very well. 16 for 14, and points off turnovers pretty close in 23 to 18. Total turnovers were 15 for us and 19 for them. So it was a back and forth game, right? And one of those ones that in a bygone earlier on in the season we would have let slip because they finished with a lot of momentum, but we managed to close the game out. And when we needed a bucket, we went to the guys that could get them. Sadiq Bey, Zion Williamson, Derek Queen had a great game in this one, 22, 9, and 7, which is probably one of the better games that he's had in some time. And what I liked in that is that he was playing with aggression. He was getting himself going, he was finding others, and he was doing the things that make his life easier. Hit that mid-range. If the guy's not coming up at you, well, all right, I'll shoot that. I'll get into the paint. I'll follow the board and get the offensive rebound. I'll do what needs to be done and make the good roll. Run the court. Yeah, I like that from Derek Queen. He looked really good in this one. Sadiq Bey, starting lineup, Sadiq, Zion, Queen, Murphy, and Jones, still without the point guard. It's been pretty good for us, I think, for the most part since Herb's returned. That length, that versatility has meant that everyone else has had to shoulder a little bit of creation, but it hasn't really slowed down the Pelicans to start the game. So Sadiq, 22 and 8 and 2 assists, 3 steals, 9 of 19. I thought he was very good once again. 2 of 7 from 3, and I mean, no one shot well. If you're going to have 8 threes made for the whole game, well, what are you going to do? Couple of turnovers, but he was a plus 12 on the night. Zion, 21, 7 and 4 assists, 2 blocks, 7 of 10. I thought he was great, 7 of 8. He was attacking Jaren Jackson. He was taking what the offense was giving him. He was patient. And in this one, he was really good. Plus 14, best on ground for us. Derek Queen, as I said, 33 minutes. He had 22, 9 and 7. 2 blocks, 8 of 12. 6 of 7 free throws. And what we're seeing is that these guys were getting to the free throw line and converting for the most part. Everyone missed. Zion missed 1. Queen missed 1. Murphy missed 1. But we're getting there. Another plus 11. Trey Murphy has struggled. His last maybe week or so, he's been down, right? He only had 8 points in 33 minutes, 1 rebound, 2 assists, 2 steals, 1 block, 2 of 14 shooting, 14%, 0 of 7 from 3. And there hasn't been many games in recent memory that Trey Murphy has gone 0 from the 3-point line, 4 of 5 from the field, and he had 1 turnover as a -1. But that's the difficulty when they recognise that Trey's starting to take that leap, is that you get that extra attention. who do you want to beat you? When you have Sadiq who's getting you 20, you got Zion who'll get you 20, DQ can go off for 20. Herb Jones had 16, who was very aggressive to start the game. Hit a three, was running I think he had the first 5 points for the Pelicans. He was excellent. There's a lot of mouths to feed, and it's making sure that you're getting. Well, you've got to get Trey Murphy going. He can't just be left on, on an island to run cardio. Again, he had 14 shots. It was, second most from anyone besides Sadiq Bey. But Trey just needs to find his rhythm. That's the long and the short of it. And putting him in a position to do so is exactly what we need to do. And started to in the Sixers game. He started coming good. Spoilers alert when we talk to that. Herb, as I said, 16-4. He had an assist, 3 steals, 7 of 9 shooting, 1 of 3 from 3. Missed a free throw, but hit his other one. Couple of turnovers, plus 10. He had, I don't know, he just makes our defense better. You hold that team to 106 points. You've held in the last few games. Who else did we beat? Oklahoma City we lost to, but still kept them at 104 to 95 against the Spurs, as we know. Thunder got 104. We're managing to keep teams from scoring. We just need to make sure that we're scoring at the other end. And I credit Herb Jones a lot to that. He has been fantastic in terms of getting us back into games and making the defense just work a bit more fluidly. He's sitting there and you can see him talking to the guys, putting him in positions to be successful and bailing them out. And Micah Peavy, is sort of Herb Jones light in that he comes on and works his behind off as well. So that's been really, really great to see and thankful to have Herb back for sure. Jeremiah Fears, off the bench, he's been playing quite well off the bench. 6 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 3 of 8 shooting. Missed his threes, but so did everyone. 3 turnovers. I gave him a -5. Look, I'm the Jeremiah Fears apologist. I won't criticise him. He has plenty of development, but there's so much upside. And when you've got a guy coming off the bench that's embraced his role, that's willing to continue to learn and develop, he's 19 years old. There's plenty to like about Jeremiah Fears. And for a team that, got, 25 points from the bench for the whole game, there wasn't much upside there. So Carlo, 5-4, an assist, 2 steals and a block, 2 of 4 shooting, hit a 3. Missy in this one, no points, but 4 rebounds and an assist. It wasn't a Missy game. It was all DQ in this one. And we've seen they've adjusted minutes depending on matchups and who's got it going on either night. And in this one, it was definitely DQ. PV had 3 points and an assist, 1 of 2 shooting, and that was a 3. And Jose came back. He hit 3 of our 8 threes, which he was excellent. And, 3 of them, they all came at the end of the third quarter when we got on a run. 11 points, 1 rebound, 2 assists and a steal, 4 of 10 shooting, no turnovers. He was a +5 and the best off the bench for us. And we can't really discount Jose's impact. His ability to apply pressure off the bench, to calm guys down when need be, to push the pace, to defend at a high level, to be a pest on the opposing ball handlers. All of those are important things that we just did not have. Because you also got to be clever about it. It's all well and good to scrap and to get rowdy and push players and get under their skin. But if you're not doing it smart and you're penalising your team by carrying on, well, that's where we sort of fall over, right? And Jose has that perfect balance of, for the most part, not getting caught up in it. Of course, he's been in a few little scraps throughout the journey and missed a couple of games because of it. But for the most part, he just plays hard. He plays how we want to play. And he's been really good off the bench. So I did like that in this. Takeaways from this game. This was a gettable game, and the Pelicans managed to do it. We've now, we got lucky number 13, unlucky for some, I suppose, for the win. And that win puts us slightly ahead of the year before in that we had 12 wins out of our first 50, and we had 13 in this one, as I said at the top. I don't know what happens at this trade deadline. we are in a weird situation that if you think there's something with this team, and, you know, Trey, Sadiq, Zion, Queen, Herb, all these guys can get us somewhere, well, do you try to add a win now piece? The difficulty is that you can also see that, well, we've tried this. How long do you repeat the same thing and hope for a different result? You know, we've talked about previously injuries, health, the like. For the most part, guys have been pretty healthy. You know, you can't live and die by Herb Jones not playing, right? Yes, he's very important to this team, but your major players have been playing. Zion's played the most or second most games in a row in his career. Touch wood, let's not ruin it now. Sadiq Bey's been playing out of his skin. He's been excellent. We've missed a few games here and there, but I don't feel like it's been one of those seasons where we've just been absolutely crippled by injury, sort of like Memphis has been the last 2 years. It's clear we don't have enough shooting, and it's really difficult for James Borrego to do his style of play when you don't have the spacing that his offense sort of dictates. He likes corner threes. He likes guard heavy play, and we don't really have those sort of creating guards that can create shots on the perimeter for themselves. Jose's very good in transition on the three. Jeremiah Fears seems to have the mentality that he wants to take it, but the skill is still developing, right? He's still learning and improving. Beyond that, the only true three-point shooter that we have is Trey Murphy. And yes, this Jordan Poole experiment seems to have ended. He's sitting on the bench. Does that, and I get that they wanted to try to bring a guy in like that who can space the floor and the like, and unfortunately his shot hasn't been falling, and I think it might be curtains on that relationship. It appears to be. If he's sitting on the bench, he's getting paid $30 million. You need to go and get shooting. It has to be the priority. I don't think you need to go and get more rebounding, watching what Eve and Queen are doing. It sounds like from the rumours that the Pelicans want to go and flip Eve for a first-round pick, but we're seeing across the league that these first-round picks are so heavily guarded now that teams don't want to trade them. Teams don't want to give them up, and they're not going to give them up for cheap. Trae Young, I think, was only one first-round pick, if that. As all-star. Luka Doncic, well, don't even get me started. There's been the trade today with Keon Ellis for DeAndre Hunter, and there's a few different moving pieces there. No first-round pick. The second-round picks that went over to Chicago. You're gonna have to. If you get a pick, it's going to be heavily protected, right? And what you can't do is go and trade your war chest that you've got with the Milwaukee picks and things like that, with Giannis knocking on the door to leave. You need to protect your future at this point. Because what we're seeing is a team that doesn't really have a direction. And we talked about at the start of the season, let's play with a foot in each camp. I think it's spoken. If you want to keep Zion, and I'm not opposed to that, because I love Zion, right? He's a fantastic player. He's a nice guy. He's great to the fans. I can't fault him currently based on my interactions with him and his play on the court to date in terms of this season. But to make it successful for him, you have to put players around him. And if you're going to give the keys to Trey Murphy, you have to put players around him to put him in a position to be successful. Or you bottom this team out, you trade everyone off, and you build around Fears and Queen. And I mean, it would have been a pretty good player this year too, but again, what are you going to do? It's a sunk cost. You can't whinge. Hindsight's 20/20, right? Be disappointed with it, but can't change it. So, plenty to unpack. plenty to unpack. So the next game was the Philadelphia 76ers, which was today, and that was the Saturday night game, Sunday morning for me. I tell you what, Saturday morning, Sunday morning, Pelicans, gosh, what a wonderful weekend for me. The Pelicans fall 114 to 124. They had to get on the plane the night after, straight after that Memphis game. They ended up getting in around 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. Took another hour to get all your bags and finally get to sleep, 4:30. You go back an hour as well because you're going to Eastern time. It's tricky, right? The NBA schedule is grueling. You're going from New Orleans, which is, cold weather, to Philadelphia that's sub-zero, freezing, Arctic winter type cold. There was a lot of factors against us. And for 3.5 quarters, we hung with them. It was fresh off the news of Paul George being suspended for 25 games for breaching the illicit drug policy or, banned drugs policy. And again, it didn't really matter because Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey were still playing. And unfortunately, they hadn't had a game the night before. So it meant that we had to sort of summon all the energy. And unfortunately, they were just too strong on their home court. Sadiq Bey did everything he could in 31 minutes. He had 34 points. Zion in this one, and we'll talk about him. We'll get to that when we get to the box score. But Sadiq tried everything he could to bring us, keep us in it. But unfortunately, they just proved too strong with 40 points from Embiid, 40 and 11. And 19, 10 and 4 from Oubre, 18, 5 and 8 from Maxey. And there's not much else you can do when the guys that are there to score do their job. So, quarter by quarter, 33 to us to 31. Great start. You build a lead. Second quarter, they got going. Joel Embiid got put in a position to be successful. He attacked the basket at will, got a heap of free throws, and basically just cooked our junior centers, essentially. 36 to 21. Guys played off him. They were hitting shots. We fought back in the third quarter. Again, that's our MO now. Come out hot out of the locker room. 27 to 20, and it was on in the last quarter. I think we kept getting close. We got within 5, got within 2, and then they would hit a 3. Back-breaking 3 after 3, 37 to 33 in favour of the 76ers in the end, and we fall short by 10 points. And honestly, they hit a shot at the end, and that sort of forces it up. But it was about 6 or 7 points throughout that last couple of minutes. And the Pelicans drew close. They got ahead, or they got within 2, and then another 3, and then another 3. And every time you felt like something was about to happen and the Pelicans were going to, put the foot down, they hit another good shot. And that's what the Stars do, right? And there are games where you feel disappointed that you lost, and you go, you should have had that, and you were helped out by the refs, or you were helped out by this. I didn't think it was really like that. I thought it was fairly reffed, I thought. I'm not going to criticise them on that one because I thought they were okay. But what just made it difficult is that Joel Embiid was on, and we just didn't have an answer for him. He was great with 40 and 10. Maxey just did Maxey things, basically, and closed this game out for them. So, credit to the 76ers. They're an Eastern Conference opponent. I don't think we play them again, or if we do, it's later on in the year, but back in New Orleans. I don't remember playing them earlier this year. Maybe we have. But, it was just a tricky one, right? Let's have a look at the stats. So we end up shooting 43% from the field for the game. Really difficult one. Couldn't get the ball to Zion at all. They basically just said, if he touches it, blitz him, hit him as hard as you can with 2 or 3 guys and let anyone else beat you. And unfortunately, it was really successful at taking away Zion's breathing room. His first points came in the third quarter. He ended up with 11. So, that basically says enough there. 47% for them. They hit 17 threes. We hit 15, which is good for us, right? We were hitting threes, and most of them, we hit a couple in the first quarter. The ball movement, I thought, in this again was very good. But you had a team that was fresh and a team that just wasn't. You had the star that just couldn't get going, and unfortunately they did their game plan correctly. 22 to 23 free throws, we were good. 19 of 22 versus 17 of 23. Assists, this is where it basically killed us. 28 to 23. They were moving the ball very well. Easy looks, getting out in transition as well, turning us over at the top of the key. There was a few of those that just meant that you sort of stuck a stick in your own spokes right as you started to build momentum, which was tricky, right? And you're going to get that. I mean, God, we've seen it plenty this year, right? We only won 13 times. Rebounds, we got beaten 52 to 46. Offensive rebounds in this one, we got beaten 12 to 11. Points off turnovers, 17 to 12. And total turnovers in this one. Again, we only had 10 turnovers, right? That was great to their 9. So it wasn't a high turnover game. It was just when and where they happened. And time and again, it was just these live ball ones that turned into easy buckets. Missed layups. Gosh, we're bad for that. Missed layups. Jeremiah Fears sprinting a million miles an hour and then just tosses it up and misses it. Trey Murphy missed a couple of easy ones. Eve Maxey missed easy ones. And that's fatigue, right? Okay, we can make excuses to the cows come home on the travel and things like that, but it was going to be tough. It's just the reality of things. So starters, we kept the same starting 5. 34 for Bay, 6 and 3. He was 12 of 19. I thought he was our best player. 4 of 7 from 3. Hit his 6 free throw attempts. They gave him a -8, which was the best for the second best for the starters. Trey Murphy was -7. Zion in this one, 29 minutes. He had 11 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. He had 6 shot attempts for the whole game. He had 9 free throws. So let's say he had, 15 shot attempts, right? Thereabouts. It's not enough. And yes, Zion can sometimes take a little bit to take stock and attack. But you've got to look at your coaching there and you've got to look at your players. Just because Zion gets rid of the ball because he gets blitzed doesn't mean you can't give him the ball back. Antonio Daniels talked about this a lot in the broadcast. You can repost. You can give him the ball back. And also, he can't quit, right? If he gives the ball up, he needs to be ready to go again. And yes, it's disheartening because you know that double team's coming straight away. But time and again, we sort of burned him because he passed the ball out and then we'd swing it and then get a contested shot. And when you get that situation, you aren't taking advantage of, clearing out that he was looking for. So that was a bit difficult. Derek Queen, 9, 6 and 2. It was a tougher game for him after the great one the other night. Trey Murphy had 19 in this one. Bounced back in terms of his score, but shot 8 of 21. So, he hit 3 of 11, but again, tough night at the office for him. Herb, 5, 1 and 5. Not a great game for him. He was fine. -13 they gave him. Jeremiah Fears off the bench had 12 points. I thought he was good for the most part, but the difficulty again, missed layups. I thought he played with more patience in this one, but again gets caught a little bit quick. Full stat line, 4-1, 2 steals and a block. He had a great block on Joel Embiid from behind, 4 of 12 shooting, 2 of 4 from 3. 0 turnovers in this one, which I do like, +7. 7, 8, and 3 for Eve with 4 blocks. He was getting after everything, and we've seen that upside from Eve, that when he wants to get going, he can. Carlo, 2, 5, 1, and 2 blocks. He was 1 of 1 from the field, and he got a +8, so he was our best on ground in the plus minus, but I suppose in 15 minutes, what are you going to do? Peavy had 5 points, and Jose with 10, 2, and 3, and a steal off the bench. Now, love what Jose did again. Change of pace, hitting threes, getting momentum. The difficulty is that he hit those threes, he cooled off, and then we kept looking for him all the time to keep bailing us out. And when you start breaking rhythm or you get forced to shoot all the time and it's not where you feel comfortable, you lose your rhythm, and then you might as well have just not bothered at all, and he was missing shots. Again, fatigue was a factor for sure. So, key takeaways from this one. It was always going to be an uphill battle. I never say scheduled loss because you can win any game, but if there were a number of factors that got against you, this was probably one of them in terms of travel. And their stars shined. 40 and 10 for Embiid, or 40 and 11 for Embiid. We don't see much of that these days, but he has been, he was a monster against us. 18 for Maxey, 15 for Edgecombe, and 19 and 10 and 4 for Oubre, and with 12 off the bench for McCain. Everyone who was meant to score scored, and you get into a shootout with this team, and you stop executing down the court, which is what we did at times. You're not going to win. And that was the reality of it. Another key takeaway is Zion, and we touched on this, right? Second night of a back-to-back, tough travel. He's tired, we're all tired. He carried us the night before. He needs to be more aggressive. And we need to, the coaching needs to put him in a position to be aggressive. The players need to recognise, hey, our best player hasn't touched the ball. Maybe we should give it to him. Trey Murphy has got the yips or something at the moment. He needs to figure that out because 21 shot attempts, he's going to punish us, right? You can shoot yourself out of games where you're putting it up and you can't score. But finally, Sadiq Bey has been a revelation. He's been excellent. You don't want your role players to have to bail you out constantly, but he has been our constant. And I'm so impressed, and I'm glad that we've got him because it's turned into the Sadiq Bey trade. I saw that tweeted somewhere versus the Jordan Poole trade. And golly gosh, I'm glad we got him because he's been excellent. So, with that being said, the Pelicans have got 13 wins on the season. We will continue to talk about them for as long as we can. The next game is against the Hornets, and that is on Monday night. It's 8 a.m. my time, so that's 7 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, Monday night, I suppose. Or, yeah, something like that. Anyway, we'll continue to try. At least we're not bottom of the West anymore, so sorry, Sacramento. Hopefully DeAndre Hunter helps you out a little bit and you can fight back, but take that, Atlanta. You probably get the same odds anyway. I think we're third last. So let's leave it at that. It's been long enough. Enjoy your weekends, everyone. I think it'll be Saturday night over in the US, so, Sunday morning when you're listening to this. So I hope you have a wonderful weekend. This has been Flock, a New Orleans Pelicans podcast. I'm your host, Lyle Swithenbank, at Lyle Swithenbank on Twitter and on TikTok, and at Lyle Pels on Instagram. Stay safe, and of course, bye for now.